Brock Purdy, Rob, a couple of weeks ago had a little tough sledding, 3 straight games with some turnovers, 5 interceptions in those games. Had a bye week, and since then has come back with a vengeance. You mentioned the trend for C.J. Stroud. Well, the trend for Brock Purdy is up.
Looking
way
up, right.
6 touchdowns, no interceptions, Rob. And yesterday, against a defense they give up a lot of passing yards, Rob, but they're Tampa Bay. They're in the top 10 in scoring defense. They're 9th, so they don't give up a lot of points. But he went in there, and Rob, in a franchise that features the quarterback that you feel is the GOAT, and I've got him number 2 all time, Joe Montana. He's probably everybody's top 3. And another Hall of Famer in Steve Young. Brock Purdy did something that neither one of them or any other quarterback in the history of the 49ers franchise has done. And that is to have a perfect passer rating when throwing more than 20 passes. Now, those two did it. Last time it was done was 1989. But those two did it throwing fewer than 20 passes and 20 or fewer passes. Obviously, the more you throw, the better chances of lowering your passer rating. So, Robbie was 21 for 25, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and had the longest touchdown pass of the season, 76 yards for anybody.
How many yards did he throw? 5, and then they ran 70.
You didn't watch the game?
I didn't see it.
Oh no, it was a 40. I think it threw it 45 yards.
Okay. No, I'm just saying.
Perfect. Yeah, no.
I always ask because sometimes, you could dump the ball off and somebody can run.
That wasn't this. Perfectly thrown pass to Brandon Ayuk. I think it was 45 yards in the air, and Ayuk took it about 30 yards or so. It was a 76-yard pass. Maybe it was about 40. I don't know exact, but it was a pass. It was a bomb. It was a fly pattern. And so he had a great game, Rob. That's the longest pass this year for a touchdown. And he threw it was 34 air yards. So 34 air yards and then I guess 42 yards.
No, that's what I was wondering. That's all.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. And Rob, Brock Purdy now leads the NFL in passer rating by 9 points. 115 passer rating. Leads the league in yards per attempt. Almost 10, which is crazy, 9.7. Leads the league in completion percentage. And then when you look in TDs, he's 18 TDs, 5 interceptions, which is one of the best TD to interception ratios. It's in the top 3 to 5. And in his career, he's got the best passer rating of any quarterback ever in their first 15 starts. It used to be Patrick Mahomes. Now it's Brock Purdy. He also has the highest passer rating for his career, for any player's career. 112. Mahomes leads with 104. Mahomes is second, I guess. But Purdy doesn't have enough games yet to fully qualify, So, like we said, the more you play, the more it will tend to come down. But he's having a great year, Robin. Now 18 starts, so that's at least one full season plus. He's 14-4. He's won a playoff game, 2 actually. One of them against the Dallas Cowboys, threw for 3 touchdowns, 300-plus yards in his first playoff game. I would say, Rob, that I'm not even saying yet he's elite. I still want to see a little more of a sample size for that. But and I'm not sure where you're at on him, but I do think at the very least, I think it's time for people to admit he's a good quarterback. Because
I don't think anybody doubts that he's a good quarterback. Good is not the operative word, Chris. Good. I don't think that's where. That's where anybody who says he's not. If they say he's not a good quarterback, I could sit here after the sample size and say he's a good quarterback. Okay. I think the question is people who were already mentioning him with the Joe Montanas and people like that to
Rex
call him
Ryan.
a great right. Right, there you go. It's that stuff, Chris. that makes
guys get excited.
No, it's just an over exaggeration. A prisoner of the moment. We talk about it, and there's got to be
somebody called him Tom Brady. I think there's been
Chris, like that. That's silly. Like it really is, and there's no disrespect to what he's done, but when somebody has to put in a lot of work and a bigger sample size, we've seen guys get off to great starts and in a lot of sports, Chris, and then peter out. Things not continue to go the way you thought they were, and that's why I think Brock Purdy is going to always be until further notice, until it just continues and it's undeniable. Because I still say, and fair or unfair, Chris, and I'll say it's unfair.
Okay, that's fair.
He can
that's
have
fair to say it's unfair.
Right, it's unfair. I'll say it. But he can have this great season. If they lose in a playoff game and he doesn't play well, they'll go back to, I knew he couldn't. Like, that's where he is. He's in a very difficult spot because he has the weapons. He's played well during the regular season. So anything short of continuing that kind of play is going to be looked at as, see, I told you he couldn't. You know what I mean? Or I knew it. I knew he was just a regular season quarterback. Oh, here where the pressure was on and now he couldn't make the throws. Oh, he threw 3 picks in the NFC Championship game. I knew it. That's where he is. It could be just a bad day at the office, Chris.
Right.
And that's not the way it will be viewed. You agree with me on that?
I do tend to. And look.
And that's what I'm saying. It's not fair.
Some of it, I don't think it's fair because I look. And this part I understand to a degree. Rob, he is being penalized. It's like I'll call it this, but it's not just this. But it's the Mr. Irrelevant tax.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt.
Right?
No,
the fact that he was the last guy picked in the draft. And I said it's not just that. Because, Rob, I think if he were a 5th round pick or a 6th round pick, anything below like 4th, and this tax is going to be there.
Right.
All right. And so, like, if he were a 4th round pick or less, anything in the first 4 rounds, Rob, I think people would be already calling him elite. And I'm not even there. And as much as I supported him and all that, I'm not even there ready to call him elite
I'll
yet,
give you
but that's the tax right there.
I'll give you the other example. And I think that's fair. That's the Mr. Irrelevant tax. I think that's a good way of putting it. But let's go back to Dak Prescott his first couple of years, Chris. It looked like he was heading somewhere, right? The numbers, they were winning. They had a running game. Oh, my God, Dak Prescott, the Cowboys.
But we knew at that point early on, like I used to call him a game manager with big playability.
I know, but you did think like he had a chance to be elite after, right? I mean, at some point, but he never got there is what I'm saying. And that's what I think when people want to crown somebody too quickly, the time will come. And there'll be time, Chris, when it'll be undeniable.
Well, if he leads them to the Super Bowl and probably, Rob, even if they were to lose, but he plays well, like remember Jalen Hurts last year. If he were to lose and they play
he has to play well, right. Yep.
I think maybe coming into the next season, people would say, okay, he's not the issue, right? Because Jalen Hurts obviously was a 2nd round pick. It's probably a little tax for him. Because, people didn't think he could throw.
Well, that was it, right. And we remember all the comments we heard from people from Philly,
Right. But he played so well in the Super Bowl.
I mean, he played.
That I think people
great.
said, okay, now he's getting the benefit of the doubt. And I think that's probably what it's going to take.
And I don't know what it is, Chris,
Purdy.
this year with Jalen Hurts. But even despite their record, it doesn't feel the same. And I don't know why.
For him or for the team?
Just both. His year doesn't seem as overwhelming to me, and I know his numbers aren't exactly like last year, right? Because he started off slowly. It just doesn't feel.
He's been hot.
No,
lately.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I actually think his numbers are going to be better.
It just doesn't. It doesn't feel like that.
He's going to throw more interceptions and stuff, but as far as touchdowns,
maybe that's why It just
I mean, he
doesn't feel
did start slowly with 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
right.
In
That's
his
what
first
right.
6
That's what
games.
yeah. Okay.
But since then, Rob, his last 3 games, he's 8 touchdowns passing and 1 interception.
Yeah. Okay. So
and he's
it's
run for 2 touchdowns as well.
But he's got So
he's
that's
gonna have more touchdowns total. He only had 22 passing touchdowns last year.
And what do you have?
Yeah.
How many interceptions, Chris, a year ago? I'm just
6.
So he has 8
He's gonna have
already.
more
Yeah, way
interceptions,
more. And he's throwing the ball more,
2
right?
Yeah, right. He's
got
throwing
8,
it more.
He's got 8
and,
already, is what I'm saying. And
Right.
He's still got 8 games to go.
Right. So, but yeah, I look, and there is a little fairness to that. It's understandable. And I'm not saying he's going to do what this guy did. All right. Like I said, I'm not ready to fully sign off on him being elite or great individually. He's having a great season. There's no doubt about that. But Kurt Warner, Rob, who wasn't even drafted, okay? We know the story about Kurt Warner and all that stuff. Wasn't even drafted. Here's the thing for Kurt Warner, though, Rob. It was 1999. First year as a starter. I mean, he lights the league on fire, leads the league with 41 touchdown passes, throws for, almost 300 yards a game, about 275. And they win the Super Bowl, St. Louis. So the thing with him was that, I mean, his first year as a starter, he had been in the league the year before, but only had appeared in 1 game and didn't throw the ball much. That's what I think, Rob, quickened the thoughts of Kurt Warner being great, right? I mean, they won it his first year. And so I think that made him a little different. But Purdy's similar. I mean, we don't know if he'll do this, but I mean, in terms of being a guy that, not much was expected from. And you come in, you got a great offensive mind with, at that time, they had Mike Martz as the OC.
And you remember Mike Martz offense, right?
Right.
Oh,
he had
God.
Marshall Faulk.
Because he was in Detroit, Chris, when Mike Martz left St. Louis. He came to Detroit. And he was supposedly an offensive genius. Like they had the greatest show on turf. That offense was unbelievable. They put the ball up. It was amazing.
Right. And the thing before, and this is something that would work in Warner's favor as far as a comparison to Brock Purdy, they were only 4-12, Rob, the year before Warner took over.
Exactly. And people could see, whereas this 49ers team, Chris, had already been to the Super Bowl and have already had some success before Brock Purdy got there. And so that takes away. It does. Whereas when the Rams came.
For what he's got to do. Right. Absolutely. But the kid is having a fantastic season, obviously, a start to his career. And I think he's legitimately good, like a very good quarterback. We'll see if he becomes elite. Probably won't be able to answer those questions in a lot of people's minds until the playoffs, Rob.